Hello, everyone, and welcome to MUCK Vol.6. It's me, Andy Ogden, and I'm joined once again by my co-host, Mr. Matty Edwards, as we chat about Roman Reigns' final defeat before he went on the never-ending story starting in mid-2020. But hello, Matty.
Hello, Andy, and yeah, this is probably listeners to myself on GRAPPL and on this platform as well. Know I'm a big Roman Reigns fan, Andy, and will I say something bad and something derogatory about Roman Reigns on this? We shall see, my friend.
I'm going to try and poke the bear as much as I can here.
You taking Beddoes' place here for once, yeah?
No, I will agree. He probably deserves to be in the Hall of Fame more than Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, that's a no-brainer. Anyone with half a brain knows that. You know what I mean? It's only Beddoes that seems to be pushing back on this. And he won't listen to this, so I can slack him off a bit more on here as well.
Let's just say Cody Rhodes really, what's he had? 5-6 year run.
And people, you know what? Roman's at, people will throw the negativity about this long running at him, but he was still on top. He was still main eventing. He was still, the guy. People like to use that one when they want to use it. Oh, it's the brand that draws. But then when it's one of their favorites, oh no, he used to draw when they don't like someone, but it's the brand. It's a never-ending cycle, Andy. We're us wrestling fans. We stick to who we like. You know what I mean?
To be honest, myself, I think it's a mix of things where the brand is hot at the moment. But you can say like Roman's been the champion. He's been like the person you want to see get beat.
He's the face of the company. He was, yeah.
Whereas like Cody is probably the face that you see out in public.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. And as Gunther said on one of his promos, it's like probably other people get asked to do it, but Cody's just saying yeah all the time. And fair play to him, that keeps him relevant. And he is. I'm not running Cody down. He is part of why it is hot. He's the best babyface they've had in years, even predating Cena, really, because Cena was never fully a babyface, was he? He was getting hate most of his run.
Yeah,
but, you've got to give Cody that. Of course you have. But the time will come when they start turning, Andy. The time's coming, mate, I tell you.
And the thing is, like John Cena, not cool, really.
No, he
to take
I don't think Cody is as well. Let's not get it twisted here. But he's probably cooler than John Cena. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's one of them. It's what a healthy position though for WWE to be in, to have these two like big, especially now, big stars, big baby face as well. And then you got your like CM Punk there as well, of course, another big star. So it's a healthy position, Andy, for them to be in. But yeah, this is just like a different world, mate, different time. It's like it's crazy this what we're going to talk about today.
Well,
but sorry, that was me. Lose me train of thought, as listeners know. We had to say it. How funny was it when we did do our GRAPPL cheap plug here, GRAPPL Hall of Fame 2-parter, that the day after or 2 days after we dropped it, Roman actually does get into the Dave Meltzer Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame after me and Ben are going back and forth for like 18 months now. And it's all been quiet on the Western Front here. And they've had nothing, no pushback on it yet, or no blowback or nothing. It's just all quiet, I love it.
Well, see, people might be arguing about Roman Reigns going in the Hall of Fame, but I'll be arguing about Johnny Saint going in the Hall of Fame or getting in there before Big Daddy. Looking, these Yanks don't know they're wrestling. Terrible. But as you said, Matty, we're in a healthy position in 2024 where WWE's riding high, AEW are in the distance.
Yep.
Let's go to 2019, where WWE, this is, I think some people have said, possibly one of the worst years of wrestling that WWE produced.
It is. It's got to be top of my head. I always, listeners, long-time listeners of this show and shite that preceded it, I always do throw 2009 in there as well, maybe 2010 for like the guest anonymous general manager and guest host era of Raws. They were rotten. They were really rotten. But you did have SmackDown, which was quite good in 2009, whereas like 2019 across the board, Andy, it wasn't good, was it? Like when you really look back, it was dire, and that's the Stockholm syndrome again, when I'm watching this at the time, and like probably not fully enjoying it, but probably will be going to bat for some of these angles, and because I'm invested and I've watched it weekly. But when you do look back and considering what it is now, the product, you can't argue and you can't lie and say, yeah, most of it was pretty dire.
One thing I looked at was WrestleMania of that year. Now, can you remember how many matches were on that WrestleMania?
This was the last one, obviously, before where they were taking the absolute piss. Where it was this like a 6 hour, they still 5 or 6 hours at this point with the pre-show and all that. Like it was, I mean, match wise, including pre-show matches, is this?
Yeah.
Oh, it's got to be a dozen. It's got to be 12.
Higher. It was 16 matches.
Fucking hell. I mean, I can try and name a few. Is this WrestleMania 35?
35, yeah.
So we've got the women's triple threat main event.
Yeah, which was played out to silence, weren't it?
I'm not surprised though. After 7 hours, to be fair, you've got Roman v Drew McIntyre.
That just shows like what type of feud Roman was in at this time.
Yeah,
he was always hanging around Drew McIntyre, and the triumvirate who we'll talk about in a bit.
We've got Lesnar v Seth was the opener, wasn't it? The title. Yeah, we've got Kofi Mania against Bryan.
That's probably the best one. Yeah.
Right, and then we've got, is this Angle and Corbin? Angle's retirement match? Yeah. And then I'm honestly, like, I'm struggling. Like, I'm outside them big matches.
So here are some of them.
Just a wrestler, and I'll tell you who they wrestled then. That'll be right. Is this Finn Balor v Lashley for the IC?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So WrestleMania 2019. I'll just run through them quickly. So you had these are all the matches. So Tony Nese defeating Buddy Murphy. Carmella winning the women's battle royal. Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder defeating the Revival.
Oh, for the tag belts, yeah.
The tag belts, yeah. I think this was right, because you always remember that Zack Ryder ladder win, don't you?
That's 2016, WrestleMania 32, yeah, Dallas.
Yeah. And I think this was at a point where they'd not won a match in forever.
It was Hawkins' gimmick where he lost that many matches, then like Ryder come and give him the pep talk, and then they ended up winning the Revival, yeah. Remember that now.
Braun Strowman winning the 30-man Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal in 10 minutes. Eliminating Colin Jost, who was with them bloody 2 comedians from like Saturday Night Live.
Oh, it sounds horrific. It sounds so bad.
Seth Rollins defeating Brock in 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yep, sounds about right.
AJ Styles defeating Randy Orton. I think that was all right.
That was all right. Yeah. Big win.
Big win, that. The Usos defeating Aleister Black and Ricochet, Rusev and Shinsuke Nakamura, and The Bar.
You know what? That'll be actually quite a fun match, really. Good wrestlers in there, but cannot remember it at all.
Because I think that was, fucking hell, Aleister Black and Ricochet. I think they were against War Machine maybe the night before this on like an NXT takeover where they were fucking top notch. Yeah. False count anywhere. Shane McMahon defeating The Miz.
I remember that. Right. Yeah, that was all right. It was a good laugh. It was a good laugh, that. George, The Miz's dad, really.
It was, yeah. The Fatal 4-Way Tag was the Iconics defeating the Boss and Hug Connection, Nia Jackson, Tamina, and Beth Phoenix and Natalya. Oof, that sounds ropey, doesn't it? Kofi Mania, which is the best thing on the show.
Oh, brilliant.
United States Championship. Samoa Joe defeating Rey Mysterio in 58 seconds.
Oh, time was cut there for sure. Not happy there, the lads.
No. Roman beating Drew in 10 minutes and 10 seconds. They got more at Clash at the Castle when I was there in Cardiff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, my word. This was a shower of shite. 25 minutes long. Triple H defeating Batista.
When he ripped his nose ring out. Remember that? Yeah. With the flyers. Oh, Triple H loved them long matches, didn't he, at Mania? Oh my God.
Obviously, Baron Corbin defeating Angle 6 minutes and 5 seconds. Balor beating Bobby Lashley with Leo Rush 4 minutes and 5 seconds. And the 21-minute main event with the it was a bit of a fuck finish, weren't it?
Yeah.
I seem to remember. Even though it's probably one of the best built matches on the show.
Unbelievable build, and one of the best entrances of all time for me was Charlotte Flair in the helicopter. Love that entrance. Fucking brilliant, that.
Yeah, and it still took her half an hour to do her entrance, didn't it? Because they shown that, and it's like, oh God, they had to do Lynch's and Rousey's entrance before she'd even got off the fucking helicopter.
Love it.
So yeah, that was Mania 2019. Some things, what we always mention in about years is what was number one in the charts at that time between.
Andy. It feels like it's last week. You're going to tell me a song and it's probably still getting played now. I'm like, I think it's got released like last week or something,
Yeah, so this feud between Roman Reigns and Baron Corbin, King Corbin, give him his proper title.
Proper title, yeah.
Was between October 2019 and February 2020. So number one in October 2019, let's see if you remember this one. It was Tones and I, Dance Monkey.
Was that 2019?
Yeah.
Oh, mate, that honestly, like, if you could have said that was 2 years ago,
yeah,
I would have believed you. Like, I genuinely would have went, oh, all right, I'm just moved the conversation on. Like, it wouldn't have been a thing. 5 years ago, that.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Always on MTV, that fucking video with the old people playing golf and what have you. Now, February 2020, number one. So, apart from a 1 week break, which was Billie Eilish, "No Time to Die," which
the
was
Bond song,
the Bond song.
Yeah,
this was the era of The Weeknd, "Blinding Lights."
Oh, good song though, Andy.
Yeah,
he's the Mania king, and
it?
Yeah, it's, I don't mind The Weeknd. He is good. That is a good song, really good song.
I think it was used for 2 Manias.
It might. I don't know if that song was, but he's done like 4 or 5 WrestleMania themes. Like, genuinely, it was his. He must get some coin off the Fed, like he must do. You know what I mean? Because yeah, he had what were the other ones he had? I can't remember the titles of them, but they are like, especially them like 6-hour Manias. How many times did you hear them? Like, they were just etched in your brain for weeks on end afterwards.
Yeah. So, also in 2019, I noticed here when we're talking about the shit that were going down in WWE,
there's a lot.
John Moxley left.
Yeah. Well, 2018 was the gas mask. Bane Moxley made it late, and then he kind of, like, I don't know, he turned back face again, didn't he? Because they had the Shield's last run early 19, and he basically put everyone over on the way out, didn't he? Put Drew over strong.
Yeah.
In 2019, I remember they had a Falls Anywhere match or on Raw maybe, and they were a good finish. I think he claymored them through like the stands, like his head was through the bar in the stands, and it was a good way to write him off. I always remember that. That was good, but yeah, there's a lot, Andy. There's a lot of bad stuff. Just off the top of my head, just freestyling here and riffing. Like, remember when like Rowan, like he says, beat Roman Reigns on pay-per-view? Like,
yeah,
what are we doing, Andy? What were we doing? Like, what was going on?
Seth and the Fiend were 2019.
2019, like a no DQ in an Hell in a Cell. Like,
yeah, I think the one we reviewed, weren't it?
Yeah. Like, there's just, but even like Becky Lynch, and I seen someone make this point the other day. I can't remember who it was now. Sorry if I can't remember who it was, but it's even like Becky gets a big coronation at Mania, and then a first feud with like a not ready Lacey Evans. Do you know what I mean? When you think about it, it's stuff. I know Lacey was like a good character in that and looked the part, but she wasn't ready at all to have these main event matches, was she? Like, at that point, like getting through up from NXT. So yeah, it was just a weird time. As Corbin himself going up against Seth after his coronation, really, it's one of his first challenges. Just Shane McMahon against Roman, like bizarre times. What are we doing, Andy? Say that a lot today.
Couple more things before we get into the look back at this angle. Has Matty had a moment in time when he didn't like Roman Reigns?
Andy, genuinely no. Like, that's legit. That, like, the minute the Shield come out, at Survivor Series 2012, it was like, and once again, 2012 is not the greatest year. So you were looking for something fresh, you know, like Cena. I know Punk was still in the midst of things. Even Ryback, like, you're just forced to get behind the Ryback at the time because it was something completely, I know it's not different to the fact that like, he was a Goldberg clone, but like it was someone fresh on the roster. You know, you'd had Cena for years, Big Show still knocking about against Cena in 2012, like Kane, Jericho, the usual suspects are still there. So you're begging for anyone fresh, and Ryback comes in, and then like a couple of months after Ryback gets a shot at Punk, well, the month later, the Shield are coming out, and you made up, you see, you know, these three like young, good-looking fellas are coming out. It's like, all right, we've got a bit of something here. Let's start pushing these. And I know they get pushed to the moon straight away, but you know, they still had the hiccups. You know what I mean? They had a few setbacks along the way, and they got left off a couple of pay-per-views, if I'm not mistaken, early on in the run. But to answer the original question, no, there hasn't been a time, Andy. Ever since there, he was always the guy for me out the Shield. Like I always say, just look at him. Do you know what I mean? It's like legit. I don't care. Like just look at him, and it's like bloody hell. He comes across well. Hasn't got the aura. Didn't have the aura that he's got now, Andy. I will admit that. I will use that word, the aura. But he just jumped off straight away, and ever since then, Andy, I've probably been his biggest fan. Genuinely, just loved him since day one.
I'm just trying to think of the point when he sort of got big in my eyes. Probably that, you know, when he beat Taker at Mania.
Okay, so that's like, is that when you first fought, like, you know?
Yeah,
And that's after he won a couple of titles, Andy, and stuff like that, and
yeah.
being pushed down people's throats and stuff. So was that you and your head thinking, all right, I'll have you now, kind of thing?
Yeah, because he's going a bit more serious then, weren't he? Because
Yeah,
he beat an Undertaker, which was a
yeah.
bad Mania main
It
event.
was a bad one, and you know, I'm a Taker fan, but Taker shouldn't have been in there. If anyone's watched the Last Ride documentary and stuff, he's literally getting wheeled out, isn't he? You know what I mean? He shouldn't be in there, but it's it's interesting interesting there though.
Yeah, because originally when the Shield started up, I was probably a Dean Ambrose Moxley fan.
Most people were, and everyone thought when they eventually did split up and go in the separate ways, everyone thought he'd be the natural heel, and that's why when Seth done the turn, it was a bit different, but. Yeah, like Roman come out of what the Shield. He was well. Don't get me wrong. He was always well protected the most out the Shield. He always got like the pin in most of the matches. He set that Survivor Series record in 2013. He set the Royal Rumble record in 2014 when he was runner up to Batista. And then obviously coming out of that, when the Shield did split up, you got your Ambrose and Seth feud, and Roman was kind of flirting with the title. Like he had a few shots, a couple of four ways in there, and had a feud at Randy Orton at the time. And then he went to the Seth feud, but then Seth, I think Roman got injured himself, didn't he? He went to wrestle at, I think it's Night of Champions 2014, and then that was advertised for, and then he ends up coming back to save Cena at TLC 14. So yeah, it's and he won. I remember the outrage at the time because he was out for like 4 months and he still won Superstar of the Year, and the Slammies were still a thing. And I think everyone was like, right, they definitely fixed them. The fans are voting this. He hasn't been there, but he won Superstar of the Year for that year, like, and it's just. Yeah, that was the first time. Even at the time, I was thinking, "Wait there a minute, we're really going with this guy now. We're phoning that in." But yeah, just and then ever since then, Andy, as you say, won titles, beat Undertaker. And you know, I remember talking to my mate Crewy as well. Always, because I was always staunch Roman Reigns, and even he said at the time, similar to Rock in a way, he didn't half lose a lot of matches for the guy and for your main event. And Andy, he always took pins, whether it be on Raw, pay-per-view. He always lost far too much for my liking, which when we get to his never-ending story, as you called it, I was so made up to see him get protected so much then.
Well, you mentioned about losses there, and spoiler alert, there is a game at the end where we go into a number of losses. But 2013, he had 204 matches and 150 losses.
That's outrageous, that. It is outrageous, because I think it must have been ever since the Shield lost. Is that 2013? So the Shield lost the first match they ever lost in June. Yeah. So ever since June to the end of the year on them house shows, they must have just been eating pins. Must have been.
Yeah, because I know 2014 would have been Mania 30, wouldn't it? That's when the they beat Road Dogg and Billy Gunn and fucking
Corporate Kane, yeah.
Yeah.
In the slacks.
Yeah, and that's when we went on to face Evolution, weren't it?
Evolution.
I always remember that being a great feud, and obviously the Wyatt stuff was top.
Wyatt stuff was good as well. Yeah, really good.
Yeah,
really, really good.
But yeah, when I was saying about like Ambrose, I thought he was excellent to start with. I don't know, it's like having the thing in back of your head because of the promos from OVW, which everyone goes to. They never really saw him at the time, but so, no, it was a good promo and that. Seth Rollins, I've always been a bit.
You know what? With Seth, he's one of them. Like, he's just a constant, isn't he? So he's always there. And I think the main man Hamflet said this on one of his shows lately, and I totally agree. It's like he's so wavy. He's like a roller coaster, Seth Rollins, because like he's there that much. You go like, oh yeah, he's good. I'm actually getting behind him. Then he'll do something stupid or something you don't like, and it's back down. I don't like Seth anymore. And then he'll come back up again and be like, no, he's really good at the minute. And then he'll go, no, he's shite again now. He's one of them wrestlers. But I think when he is good and when he is serious, I think he is good though. You know what I mean? He's got it in him to be good.
I think the stuff with Bronson Reed's been good.
Yeah, it has. I think people thought the ultimate thing with Seth is, and I think because he's one of the most wrestlers that people really don't like, and I think the nail on the head with him is that he should just never be the guy or the main eventer. When he's seen as that, I think that's when people do turn on him more. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. That's what I'm guessing anyway.
He should always be the top mid-level.
Yeah, you beat him to get to like a Roman or a Cody or whatever it may be. But he's always protected as well. He's always featured and always protected. And I love Roman. Roman and him, I don't know if we're getting work, but I love their like Roman will take a shot at him any chance he gets, whether it be on TV or an interview, like on the internet or YouTube. And you know, I really hope that is that what is it, the competitive edge that they've got, where like Seth will just never be on Roman's level, no matter how hard he tries. He just never will be.
Yeah. So I think that's all the preamble done with. My next question was, what is it about Roman that attracts Matty to him? But I think we've answered the question.
But it is. He looks the part, but then he was always a good wrestler. Like people think, because like my mate Dave the Rave always had that sting with ears, but he can't wrestle. And I'm like, he can. He's a good. He was never, maybe not the greatest wrestler you've ever seen, but he was far from bad. And to be fair, even like the ones who didn't like him didn't really label that at him, but some did. You know what I mean? Some did label that he couldn't wrestle. And that was always a proper myth to me, that one. So he always like ticked along in that way. But it was, even looking back, like Stockholm Syndrome again, and always defend the character and such at the time, but which we'll go into here and in the future. Like, it is like a different person though, Andy, when you look at how unbelievable he is now. And that's why I love him even more now.
It's more the presence now.
It's evident, the presence, like, it's just ridiculous. He found himself after all the years of the fans didn't want him, the creative he had to go through. And he finally thought, fuck it, no. Like, which Cena didn't do, you know what I mean? That's why I'll always have that little gripe towards Cena. He had the power to do so much, Cena, and he didn't. Whereas Roman thought, fuck it, use COVID as the perfect time to get out as well for his own, and another with his own health reasons as well. Why, like, he's come back from adversity in that side, Andy, which is always a tick in the box. It's glad that he's even on TV. So like, and he's used that to turn it round and turn himself round and turned into this character. Just fucking unbelievable, mate.
Here we go now, King Corbin.
Let's bring it down now. Let's bring it down.
Let's bring it down, way down. So, as I said, this is like October 2019 era. First up, we have King Corbin calling out Roman in his royal address. And this was, I think, the week before Survivor Series in 2019, which this was the brand supremacy era. Ooh. Wear a T-shirt.
But to be fair, this was the first one NXT got incorporated, though, weren't it? Yeah. And to be fair, that Roman Reigns Keith Lee finishing stretch, it's repeated on Twitter every day, or Blue Sky coming up. Like, that finishing sequence was unbelievable stuff.
Yeah, this taping was at the MEN Arena, and
was you there?
Yeah,
was you there?
Because this is the one with Walter. This is like the Raw, and then they showed like later on like the SmackDown on like the playlist we do. This is the one Walter appeared for the first time on like the Monday night.
Was that against Seth?
I'm
sure it was.
It might have been, yeah. And he got no reaction, hardly any reaction. I think Pete Dunne might have been on that one. Summit that evening. It's a strange time. And I think NXT was hot, but not as hot as it was at this stage.
I still think it was still Adam Cole era though, in it, Undisputed Era stuff. It was all that, so I would have been into it. I did like Adam Cole around this time. But yeah, it was once again, and they mesh into the same year, that 2018-19 NXT as well. And obviously the pandemic is the cutoff for, like, I think we need, I'll never want to say we need the pandemic ever, but from a wrestling thing to your brain to allow to like figure out dates, it's a good cutoff point, isn't it, to use the pandemic like as a reset, like, so.
Yeah, it's very much the Ciampa Gargano staring your hands here.
I mean, but that one, I mean, I didn't mind them matches with a live crowd, but the one they done in the pandemic, oh my God, how up their own ass it was that. Fucking hell. Bad.
So Corbin in this interview has an animated Roman symbol barking like a chihuahua.
Andy, this is where, like, it's just and every time I put like these matches or segments on and Michael Cole screaming, it's the big dog, it's so cringy, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And I know, like, nicknames and that, but you're literally using like the big dog, and he's got poopy bags out in this. It's so bad. I can't defend this shit. I can't.
Yeah, it was doggy bag talking. Lowest of material from Corbin talking about doggy bags and tiny balls. You can tell Vince was still around.
Oh, fucking hell. Not half.
But you mentioned there about Michael Cole and like stuff he'd used to shout out for Roman Reigns. It was the big dog. Yeah. But all of his matches, and I think sometimes with Roman, you know, when you were saying about the work rate and all that being, pretty good. I think watching back at this in my own head, all his matches just used to be Superman punch, spear, Superman punch, spear, and I sort of forget the stuff in between because it was just constant Michael Cole shouting these moves.
Yeah. No, I can see that, and he was, it is similar to Cena though. He's kind of presented as the next Cena when he was Cena to start just spamming AAs and stuff like that. But with it being a Superman punch, it's not a move per se, is it, like an AA? So he felt like he did like 7 a match, didn't he, at some point? You know what I mean? He did, against your Lesnar and that. He literally was hitting that many. So yeah, it's just strange times, Andy. Genuinely, honestly, like, it's watching it. Like I couldn't believe what I was watching. Some of this, like, legit, like what is going on?
So this promo leads into Reigns versus Corbin on that week's SmackDown. Rude and Ziggler getting involved, who we'll talk about in length later.
I like the lads, especially Bob.
Think we can admit though, Matty, Roman looks better with his top off nowadays.
Oh yeah, he does. That tactical vest with the big dog face, it's just awful. I look back, I've got to say it. You've got me saying it, like, I don't want to say bad things about him, but and it's not him, at the time. It's creative, and maybe he's not at that point, or not feeling as confident where he probably could have stood up for himself like a Cena, but he wasn't, was he? And he's just coming out there, it just looks bad, and yeah, it's no good.
So with all the interference, Corbin hits the end of days.
Great move, Andy.
Yeah, no, it is a very good.
And the deep six, he had a good move set, Corbin.
Corbin, obviously, he nearly turned up to your wedding.
Could have been my best man. They would have pushed him. He could have been.
Yeah, but let's give him a bit of love, even though he's been released now by WWE at time of recording. He served his purpose well, very much like the Big Show, who we talked about on the previous episode. He did whatever job was put in front of him.
100%. And once again, like, you know, I think that's when he was getting shoved down as Constable Corbin. He was like in main events and stuff. That's where I think everyone was like, what are we doing? Like, he shouldn't be a main eventer. But as that heel who would always get his comeuppance on the shows and always a spot for him, man. But Andy, honestly, like, even the gimmick where he was skint and then he was happy Corbin again, then got over. And on Andy, I went to a house show in Liverpool City Centre. It was him and Madcap Moss against Drew and Jeff Hardy in one of Jeff Hardy's last. Perfect house show heels, Andy. Like legit heat, like up throughout the building, and then get the comeuppance and get beat. It's easy, old school professional wrestling. You need not every wrestler. I say this all the time. Not every wrestler got to go out there and have 5-star matches. You need characters on your show like that who are gonna get heat, genuine heat in a building, and get the comeuppance. Perfect stuff.
I think what's underrated as well is like his last run in NXT with Bron Breakker. That Wolf Dogs in it.
The Wolf Dogs, got himself back over with the IWC, didn't he? You know, fair play to him.
Yeah, and then he got sent back to SmackDown, and they did bugger all with him, stuck him with
Apollo Crews.
Apollo Crews, how's he still got a contract?
He's still around, yeah.
It's one of them like that Ian Wright gif, isn't it? I thought you were dead.
Oh, this teacher.
Yeah. So this angle's then followed up with Corbin, Ziggler, and Rude bringing out a big dog mascot.
Oh, this is the worst one. Like, because I might surprise if you would me take on another one, which is infamous. But this is the worst one for me. This is really bad. Like, this is like the lowest of the low. Like, even if we're breaking it down from any sense, like, and I know it's meant to look shit, the costume, but fucking hell, Andy, how amateur does it look though? And it's the little puppy noises over his music. Yeah, this is the bottom of the barrel. Like, I'll try and defend any outside the box like angle or what. There's nothing you can defend this with. This is poor.
But then again, it's the heels gloating.
It is not
low level stuff.
And I watched it because all we do see on like your Twitters is the entrance. So we got the context of like them gloating and saying we've got you come out here now, but it's still not good, Andy. Even with the context, it's not as bad without the context. Don't get me wrong, as bad without it. But with it, it's still awful. Like there's no defending it.
But it's that sort of angle. What obviously Vince McMahon's stuff is known for. You remember the Shawn and Triple H after Montreal, where they brought out Little Bret Hart.
Yeah, stuff like that. It's the worst. But that, once again, Andy, that was 22 years prior to this, and we're still doing stuff like this. It's just all that big dog nickname attachments and stuff. It's just horrendous. Did you hate the big dog name? Not once again at the time. I was eating everything that got saved to me, Andy, at the time. So it really didn't. I've got the t-shirt. Like, I haven't just got my Bloodline t-shirt. I've got most of his old Roman Empire t-shirts, Andy. You know what I mean? But I just didn't like Michael Cole screaming it even at the time. I was like, all right, come on. When he just had Boss Time and Sasha Banks come out as well, it was embarrassing.
I think it was obviously that Undertaker feud, weren't it? All to do with whose yard was it, and like
yeah,
so it worked in that.
Yeah, it worked in that, of course. But overall, no, we're a big fan of the nickname.
It's then followed up with it was a 6-man tag, which was Roman Reigns, Mustafa Ali, and it's back in this era of Shorty G.
Bad. That's like got to be prime example of how bad this era was in this year. Like, that's awful stuff, Shorty G. Like, and I know it's cliche to say Chad Gable's a great wrestler and he's most underused, but he is. Like, he's so good. Like, the stuff he done with Gunfat, like, should have had more of a payoff. Stuff with Otis should have had more of a payoff. It's like he gets left in limbo and nothing gets finished off.
People forget about that one, Matty, don't they? The Otis storyline just never got paid off, didn't it?
And Sami Zayn were in a Clash of the Castle this year from Scotland, was it? And then they had that great story match, and then it was leading into like Otis and that, and the angles on Raw and Otis was getting sympathy, like full buildings and into this stuff, Andy, and then it just gets dropped. But it is cliche though in a way. He is a great wrestler, and fucking hell, Shorty G. Once again, what on earth are we doing?
It's a very similar one once again to, you remember Landstone being boring.
Yeah.
When he what's it? They got him doing dancing, and he had a big cock.
Yeah, Gold Dusty was doing the dancing, put him with Val Venus when he had the big cock. But this is like that, like, you're a great wrestler, we know that. Let's try and give you some personality, but you're forcing it out of them. It's still not organic, is it? At the same time, so just let them be wrestlers. You know, if they've got none, promote them as that. Novel idea.
So these three were against Corbin, Ziggler, and Rude. Ends up with Corbin pinning Ali with a deep six.
Andy, you know, when we do these 6 mans with Corbin, Rude, and Ziggler, can we AKA the lads after they side bleeds get the proper lads here?
I wanted to ask your thoughts on Mustafa Ali. He's someone who, you know, got released from WWE. High expectations of him, you know, probably going AEW. But he's floundering on TNA, isn't he? He's Mr. 3 stars.
Once again, Andy, not every wrestler is the saviour of wrestling that people tell you they are, and who should be a world champion and should be this, that, and the other. Like, once again, a great wrestler, good talent, you know what I mean? And that's it. But I always say, well, if you're not a good wrestler nowadays, there's nothing down for you. Everyone should be good at this point, you know, actually in ring mechanically and technically, or whatever you want to say. Don't make no mistakes. Everyone should be. And I know there's a few from NXT, but at the same time, I don't mind people learning on the job, you know, as long as they've got that presence or character to go with learning on the fly in ring. So it's a bit of both there. But yeah, with Ali, never really. Don't get me wrong, I had some stormers in 205. I think him and Buddy Murphy had a really good one where you could tell no one was watching, no one was agenting this but themselves. They were going out there doing all kinds. That's probably his most memorable match for me. That was so good. But overall, as this like next great hope of wrestling, nowhere near it.
Nah. That Retribution one, weren't it?
Oh, to be fair, that killed them off. Yeah, to be fair, and to be fair, and did we ever? You know, but at the same time, I'll always defend wrestlers. But like, did he get a fair crack on the mic and that? We don't know. You know, at the same time with Retribution, it was. I know it was COVID and it was a different time, but they were just clinging on anything to try and keep the eyeballs on the telly, weren't they? Another gang taking over. They always went back to that WWE and cutting the ring with the chainsaws, cutting the ring with the chainsaws and stuff. So yeah, it's a bit, but. No, as I say, he's not doing much now, is he? He tried that like presidential gimmicky type thing he's doing. Yeah, weird. But
you'd see bits and bats on like on social media, but nothing concrete to say. Oh, I must go and seek out these Mustafa Ali matches. And it says something. AEW, who's had about 265 wrestlers, have not touched him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Anyway, Shawn Michaels and Triple H on a tank leading NXT into the SmackDown building. And this is the one where they just have a big fucking fight and what have you. Everyone's in a T-shirt. Adam Cole on the front of the tank with Undisputed Era.
We talking about aliens there, Andy?
Yeah. Basically, Matty, this was the AEW roster.
Yeah,
it was, weren't it?
Who was on there? They had Adam Cole, Roddy Strong was on there, really.
Yeah, Kyle O'Reilly were there.
O'Reilly.
Fucking hell.
Keith Lee on there. Keith Lee there, really.
Yeah. Damian Priest would have been there, yeah.
Yeah, of Raw, not AW fame though, and of Raw fame at the minute. Who else was there? I can't even remember, but it was just
Ricochet were in a Raw T-shirt at this.
Yeah, he would have been Raw, not NXT at that point.
He'd have just left NXT the other.
Yeah.
a few weeks before that. It's ridiculous. So this leads to the Survivor Series, Raw versus NXT versus SmackDown match. Now, right gang of bastards in this one. So we got Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre, Kevin Owens, Ricochet, Seth Rollins versus.
That's a good team, though. That's actually not a bad team.
That's apart from Ricochet, that is a team of stars, isn't it?
Yeah.
Versus Mustafa Ali, Shorty G, Braun Strowman, Baron Corbin, and Roman Reigns. You couldn't expect them five going for a pint with each other, could you?
No chance.
And on the NXT team, here we go. Tommaso Ciampa, who was sort of the height of NXT, I think, at that time. Matt Riddle, Damian Priest, Keith Lee, and Walter.
Yeah. He was Walter still at this point, wasn't he?
He certainly was, yeah. He was certainly the size of a Walter on the Indies at that time. Any thoughts on them? Keith Lee, were you ever a fan on like when he was on the Indies?
I was. Keith Lee, I got into Keith Lee big time. Seen him over here, Andy. Never seen him. Only heard the name before. Went to a show in Manchester. Can't remember who he was on with, and just he was over and he had that presence. So, and then I bought into him. PWG, the Dijak matches. They still like infamous Dave 5 stars, but I fucking ate them up like it was something rotten. One of my favourite touring matches, I called them, like him and Dijak. Put them on any show, I'll be there, I'll watch it. The NXT one they had on pay-per-view 2020 was it? Really fucking loved that. So I always bought into Keith Lee, and I'll always say about Keith Lee, he had that little run on Raw in the pandemic. I'll always say he pinned Randy Orton on pay-per-view in a singles match, clean as a whistle. You can always have that, mate. So, yep.
He also had the charisma as well, didn't he? And that's obviously the time when he come in the Royal Rumble, weren't it? The big boy.
Yeah, Lesnar loved it. But honestly, Andy, he did have potential. He really did. It was just in the COVID times, wasn't it? Really, that when the fans weren't actually there. So yeah.
Yeah, first time I saw him was at PCW in the World Wrestling Championships. He got Joey Janela did a Canadian Destroyer on him.
Did he?
Yeah. So I remember seeing that, and also one against Joe Coffey in the O2 Academy in Liverpool. I was stood with Gareth.
Yeah,
and I think there were about 60 people that night.
Yeah, mad.
Yeah, but no, I always rated Keith Lee, but
yeah, I liked him.
I think he's had health issues or what have you, since he's been in AEW, especially like the last year. I think the only time he's been noticed on telly was in a backstage segment on the Hall of Fame where CM Punk was talking, and like Keith Lee was in background. You like that Great Hawk one where he just like pops his head through the door.
Oh yeah.
Shouldn't be there. Damian Priest is improved with time, I would say.
For sure. Like his run this year as champion, I was behind, like as that new champion on the scene who you didn't think would win the belt, and he got himself over, and he is to this day. And I love the dynamic. I love the match at SummerSlam, the dynamic with him and Gunther, Walter, whatever you want to call him. I like the fact that Gunther can't be this killer forever. He's coming up against a guy just as big as him, and he's giving it him back. I love that side of it at SummerSlam, and I like the way they're playing into this now. Not dating the podcast, going into the rematch of Survivor Series, where like Priest was like, "Yeah, I had your number. If Finn Balor wouldn't have cost you, I don't sweat you, don't scare you." So it's going to bring a different side of Gunther out when he does eventually win. You know what I mean? So all for it. Love Damian Priest.
Just the final two. Riddle obviously had the out of the ring stuff, but he was someone who you thought. Well, I think his probably best run was with Randy Orton, weren't it?
RK Bro, definitely.
RK Bro, yeah. But he just fucked it up for himself in the end.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I think he's on MLW now.
Yeah, I don't even know what
the
he's doing.
Rest of the scrubs.
Yeah.
Ciampa, ever a fan of his?
You know what? He was one of them. Like, never the biggest fan. But the heat when there's no music and NXT, Andy, and you could just hear the fans, and he had some. I like them matches with Adam Cole. I like the matches with Gargano. I enjoyed. I think him and Walter had a cracker when he was a face on NXT. That might have been Pandemic. I love that one as well. One of my favorite matches. So, and he just took some gnarly bumps. Just that baldy, veiny head used to make every bump he took on the floor, cement floor, just look better and stuff like that. So, he's not one of my favourites, but got a lot of time for him, man.
This match anyway. A lot of quick eliminations, I would say, here, Matty.
Yeah, Gunther goes out early, doesn't he?
2 minutes he gets. I think
I remember I remember enjoying Twitter a lot that night. The outrage.
Oh, because he was booked to be booked like a monster on NXT UK and NXT, and then to see him on the big show where like crowd were into him, and then he gets fucking I think Claymored in 2 minutes, doesn't he, by Drew?
Yeah.
Owens got eliminated as well. Quick style.
That played into his character at the time, though, weren't it? Like the heely type. I think Seth done it a couple of years later or a year later, like sacrificing or whatever the team Seth done. But yeah, you know, you got to. That's what, especially when it's 5-on-5, and like you've got to eat these pins. They always protected some who've got like a DQ'd in the or a count out in these, but especially when you got 15 men here, you got to have some. You got to have some eliminations going off.
Yeah. What the commentary team on this match? Fuck me, this was a bad trio. It was Vic Joseph, Corey Graves, and Nigel McGuinness. Oh, it was awful.
I don't mind Graves though. I don't mind them.
It was just weird hearing Nigel on like a WWE product because you know we hear him so much on AEW. Well, I probably don't now. I've got Shutter Triller. Anyway, Orton eliminates Priest. Riddle eliminates Orton. Sad times that one, Matty.
Oh, sad times.
Riddle eliminated by Baron Corbin. I put this. I think this was just to wind up the crowd again, just like Corbin beating our guys and what have you. I put the NXT guys, except for Keith Lee getting blitzed. But the thing was with Keith Lee, when he tried to get in the ring, they just kept like drop kicking him off the rope and what have you.
Yeah, you always like this is once again, this is Vince here, isn't it? So Vince is going to take a look at most of them NXT guys. He's going to love Keith Lee for the size, isn't he? He's going to love him.
Yeah. Corbin pins Ricochet.
wind up at that time.
And there were also like CM Punk chants during this era.
Yeah, always, Andy, always.
Keep willing Phil to come back, weren't they, at this stage, which he eventually did in AEW. Reigns speared Corbin and Let's Ciampa pins him.
Yeah. Continuing the storyline on Andy, aren't we? That's what we're doing here.
Yeah. Keith Lee, it's the ground zero on Rollins. Then you have Keith Lee and Roman as the last two. Lee misses the moonsault spear by Roman, who wins the SmackDown. I think the story was like Corbin was sort of winding up Roman, saying, "Oh, you're not good enough to be on my team," and what have you. So it's basically Roman proving him wrong.
But got to give shout out to that near fall that Keith Lee gets on Roman off the powerbomb. Superb, really good.
They had only had like a couple of matches, didn't they?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, off memory and.
So, I think on the follow-up on the TV show, you have Roman looking for an apology from Corbin, which leads to Bobby Roode versus Roman Reigns. It's a very short match, I will say.
Yeah, well, there was a playlist. Did you put the playlist together, Andy, for this?
No,
was that on YouTube? Was that already there? Was it?
Yeah.
But you know, Bobby Roode, though, Andy, like I don't care what anyone says. I love him. Like he's just a pro's pro, but in the best sense, Andy. Like just once again, dive into anything you give him, deliver it the best he can, won't moan, just get on with it. Like from his TNA stuff where he was, you know, but he was good as that world champion, then worked his way up and was a good heel world champion. And then got his run in WWE and like was the glorious got over, Andy. That music did get over. It was really good. And he had like his US title runs and stuff like that. And then I did like the Dirty Dogs, him and Ziggler. Like I loved them as a tag team. Like I think them beat the Mysterios, Backlash, maybe 2020 in the pandemic. Underrated tag match, that fucking really good stuff. That
coming to shite/muck Dirty Dogs playlist. Bloody hell, that'll send me to sleep, to be honest. I will say with Bobby Roode, I think like everyone enjoyed his TNA stuff. The NXT stuff, it's the entrance. I remember staying up for some of them NXT like pay-per-views, and Their main events were about 25 minutes.
Yeah.
As professional as you can get.
Exactly, and exactly.
So one of my notes was Reigns just looks like a totally different bloke here from the Bloodline days. It's I don't know if it's obviously the illness at the time, which was at the end of this feud, but he just looks a bit washed.
Yeah, but this is again, and like it will be like obviously he come back, hasn't he, this year early on from his health issues, and you're forgetting as well he wasn't taking time off at this point. Apart from that break he had with the health issues, he was there on the road doing every house show at this point. So he's been running hard for what 7 years without really any time off, really, apart from that break there with the illness. So maybe he needed a bit of time. Maybe he was looking a bit washed, as you say there. So yeah, it's a totally different human being, Andy.
So Rude gets speared through the barricade. A favourite spot of WWE.
Oh yeah, favourite spot of Roman. Let's not get it twisted, and
And Roman dumps the announce desk on Rude. Here.
Yeah.
December 6, 2019. Reigns versus Ziggler. Reigns gets super kicked in midair, and here comes Corbin on his throne. It ends with like Roman pinning Ziggler with a spear. What's it? They had this spot where he got super kicked in midair, and then the dirge of Baron Corbin's theme, the royal start to it, and then it goes into that cracking
End of Days is a great theme tune. Really.
End of Days theme, yeah.
Unbelievable song, that. Love that.
But the anti-pop this got, it just silence.
Oh yeah. Bad, Andy, like bad. Even King Corbin, as I say, we were trying a lot with him at this point. I know he's, overall he's getting all right reactions as that heel still, but as you say, sometimes it's turn off the channel, isn't it? It's turn away stuff.
Next up is one of the most famous segments in Roman Reigns' career. Not that none of these tribal ceremonies. It's the one and only one where he gets dog food poured all over him.
Right, and you know what, and this is one I don't hate this one. No. Don't hate it at all. I like, for all the flack it gets, like I see this one as two dastardly heels. Like, and I know this is an era again where we're still in proper 2019. We're still in that PG, so there's no blood, there's no excess, so you can't be too violent. So they're hamming this up. The commentary, this is like the most dastardly thing in the world. And I get there's no blood, there's no severe weapons, you know what I mean? But for what they do, for the sheer embarrassment of two twatty heels tying the babyface up and covering him and embarrassing him in dog food, I think it works well, Andy. It's just obviously a play again on the big dog, of course, but this isn't half as bad as the mascot for me, or the poopy bags, or the doggy bags, whatever you want to say. This is actually, for me, it was that old school vibe angle of, like, I say, the two horrible heels embarrassing the babyface, and you want to see this babyface come back and beat the shit out of these two heels.
Yeah, I can see your point, because you're wanting to see like the bad guys get the comeuppance.
Yeah, it's just a visual though, isn't it, of dog food, which of course like can't be denied at the same time. So, but yeah, this for me, as I say once again, didn't mind this at all, to be honest.
One thing I did want to say, the consistency of that dog food were a bit wrong, weren't it? It was like chicken tikka masala, weren't it?
Because Corbin, to be fair, is putting it over his chest, but Ziggler's loving it, just rubbing it all over his face, getting it right in his hair and all that. Fair play.
To be honest, Ziggler won't want it in his hair. Fucking hell. Matt of Vol.6 and Timothy, that's gone through them locks over the years. Roman Reigns then returns to get revenge on King Corbin. I'd put here, forgot FTR were there in 2019. You know, that it's just time, innit? You sort of, they've been in AEW a long time now, haven't they?
You keep, whenever you mention 2019 and mentioning wrestlers, you're twigging back memories. This is the era of, once again, one of the worst ever, when the Usos were putting that like itchy cream on the towels and the
yeah.
Oh, bad.
It's where I'm sure they did an angle with
they were shaving each other's hair
yeah,
in the showers and that. Oh yeah, it's bad.
So this match then leads up to the TLC match between Roman Reigns and King Corbin at, you guessed it, TLC, which lasts a total of 24 minutes and 34 seconds in a match that doesn't really involve ladders that much.
Right, as I say, I didn't rewatch this one back, Andy. I'll be honest with you, that was on the playlist here, but I remember it being on for a long time, and like this feud felt like it was on for a long time, Andy, and it was, wasn't it, like 4 or 5 months in the end. This feud lasts. It's like
5-6 months, yeah.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, so October, November, December, January, February, 5 months.
But does Corbin beats him, doesn't he, again in that TLC match?
Yeah, so he wins with the end of days on the chair after him and the lads batter Roman. And so like Ziggler gets involved, FTR. You have a spot where Reigns does like the flying dive onto the security down below.
Yeah.
Which, you know, a good spot, but yeah, it wasn't good, to be honest.
Yeah.
As a match. Just a lot of bells and whistles, and in fact, that's Roman Reigns' final loss before
WrestleMania this year, 5 years later. I know Jey Uso pinned them at the Money in the Bank 2023, but
like
in
a
singles match. Yeah, Cody's the next time he loses. But that's what, again, like, if you would have honestly said to somebody in 2019 when he did eat that pin, the next time he'll lose a singles match will be April 2024. You would have like, people would be on the floor laughing at you, wouldn't they? They'd be literally, what are you on about? And if you would have said, oh yeah, then he's going to hold the title for 1,316 days, they'd laugh even more. They'd be like, what are you talking about? Like, it just shows you how much you can just get back there, mate, and do good things, lad, at the same time. Just wild.
So next on the playlist, you go into a tag match between Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan, who's in a feud with Bray Wyatt at this time. You know, the Fiend. The
Fiend, yeah. Always Bray Wyatt's best opponent. Always had the best chemistry, Daniel Bryan. Oh, that might shock people with being Bryan Danielson, but they always, even at this stage where he's the Fiend, that strap match is really good. At Royal Rumble 2020, it's a good one.
I think there was another Royal Rumble match, weren't there?
2015, the one where he lost. Everyone wants them to win, yeah, and he lost. Bryan.
Excuse me.
I was going to say, it's a big swig, that.
Just on the old shandy AD, yeah.
Makes a change from the proper shandies, and.
Well, yes. So these two are against Ziggler and Corbin. So literally the match ends with the lights going down, the Fiend turning up, mandible claw to Bryan through the barricade as well. There you go, another barricade spot. I did put one of my notes. You forget mid to late 2019 to pandemic era was a lot of crap.
Yeah, and there's just so much like going on, and honestly, like, people like it deserves the flack it gets. That it's still to this day, you know, it really was poor.
I think this was the point. I put something on Twitter saying, "Fuck me, this is rough watching 2019." You sort of forget, but these are why we watch these things back, to appreciate the times we've got now.
Exactly. Or to see if it was as bad as, obviously, the point of these shows. Is it as muck? Is it as shite as it's remembered for?
So this one, Roman gets handcuffed, but he's saved by the Usos. And I think they have the music at this time.
Oh yeah, they've had that since about 2017, and they've had that for a long time.
So forget that.
Yeah, purely. Yeah.
Would you say that is a banging tune? One of the best?
Unbelievable, one of the best, and even the remix now that like Jey Uso's got on his own, like, just love it. It just gets you going, doesn't it? And I always say, like, Ben was there himself, Money in the Bank 2023, and that started this Usos craze for that. We started that. They stood down after J-Pin Roman. The Usos both stayed behind for a good 10 to 15 minutes. And we started the J Uso bounce. I'll always have our back for that as a nation, because we were there and he was loving it. No, and I will. Like, we started that craze. You know, France and Leon have had their time this year with a great crowd and other crowds. But we did start that off, like, we did.
Yeah, I will say with the Usos, I know you can do bloody big podcasts about their career in the coming years, but you know, they have lasted the test of time. But looking at this era, when you sort of compare it to 2023, 2024, they look like different wrestlers.
They do, and it is. It's all about that. It's all about that presence and that aura. I keep saying that word. Like Jey Uso now, I don't care about if he has 5-star match. I couldn't give less of a shit. I couldn't care less. Full arenas are reacting to him. I always say that certain wrestlers, very few wrestlers have that men, women, and children who are over. Do you know what I mean? Like legit over with. And he's got that. He's got that bounce going. If you put the world title on him, Andy, next year, like, it wouldn't surprise. They should. He's the hottest thing. He's the hottest. I know people say Cody and that, but he's one of the most hottest things they've got, on par with a Cody, with a Roman at this point. He really is. And you were there yourself at the house shows.
Yeah,
recently.
Manchester house show. Yeah, it was cracking when he come out. Obviously, it's everyone doing.
Yeah, I know it's an entrance, but it's the story as well. They've told Andy in this bloodline that, like, he's had to go out on his own. And that's part of him earning this with the crowd, because
he's had to earn Roman's respect. Because I know it's been brought up over the last few weeks at time of recording, where Roman used to always say, "I can't tell between you."
Exactly.
Sort of
But then even in the ring,
himself on his own.
Exactly, on that crown jewel, Roman's in the ring, and Jay gets his own entrance, and Roman's looking around the arena like, wow, like, geez, like, he doesn't want to admit it, but he's like, shit, I've created this, I've been responsible for this. He is over, he is his own man now. It's great stuff, and it's fucking, why I watch it, mate? Fucking love it.
Well, that's one of the good things that they did with that crown jewel match, even though the match itself were up to much, was letting Jey Uso have that entrance on his own and not just come out as a
of course
gang of three.
Of course, yeah.
Because it probably would have ruined it a bit.
Would have. Of course, it would have. The stories, not the story, the stories, the talent. There's so much going on. But yeah, back to even this point, and this is, you know, the Usos are different human beings at this point. Definitely, totally agree.
One last point: Jimmy Uso needs to do like hand signal or get a catchphrase now, doesn't he? He'll be main event Jimmy Uso next.
Big Jim, innit? We're getting that over.
Yeah. Next up, a tables match between Roman Reigns and Robert Roode. Have a guess what happened. Have a guess what spot happens in this, Matty.
Well, it's a tables match, Andy, so that can only mean a barricade spot, mate.
Yes. You guessed it. So they have the fourth barricade spot of this feud as they cue up Corbin's royal music again. You have more interference. I feel like I'm watching the same finish every section of this feud.
Well, once again, and you are, because Vince is still in charge. It was the same old every week, wasn't it?
So he ends up with Usos putting Ziggler through a table. Reigns wins when he puts Roode through a table. Ooh.
Al Pacino there.
Next up in this ever long feud, Royal Rumble 2020, all 25 minutes and 37 seconds of a Falls Count Anywhere match between Roman Reigns and King Corbin. One of my notes on this is the match was about 16 minutes long. And for me, it was easy to say bugger all had happened until Roode and Ziggler turn up and the Usos save Roman. Yeah, there's a lot of walk and brawl in this, mate.
Yeah, it was just that's all it was. We were just filling time in between big spots, chokeslam through the announce table, 2 Samoan drops down the they used to have like all the nationality tables in the crowd though, weren't like in announce tables. They had all the announce
and all
tables.
them,
Yeah,
it?
yeah, and I can't remember the German fella's name. Oh, he used to get a shout out off Corey Graves every time. Can't remember.
Probably Carsten Schaefer or something like
that. It might be, yeah, it might be.
Okay.
But there was like Samoan drops, and then when the Usos and the lads come out, like great spot though, like that dive Jimmy does out the stands, like that, like took them out. He genuinely, like, weren't one of them where he fell on them and they all fell over. He took them out. You could tell.
Yeah,
Proper comes out of nowhere there, and then we get the big spot at the end where, well, before the end where Roman puts King Corbin in a Portaloo.
You know what Michael Cole called these bogs? He called them structures.
Yeah, well, once again, this is Vince here, isn't it? Flipping hell. Can't I just call it the toilet or yeah, well, fucking yeah, awful. And that happens, and then we get the big spot at the end where they're on like the what is it, like the top of the
like a barricade, isn't it?
Top of like where the baseball crews all sit, isn't it? On top of there.
It's a bit like, you know, when Arsene Wenger got on top of like the dugout.
Got sent off at Old Trafford. Yeah, it's like that,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And he runs off and gives him a spear on that and gets the pin as the visual. But even that didn't land, Andy, for me. Like, they went for this big visual ending and it was a bit flat. So, yeah, it wasn't the best, this, got to admit.
So then you go into like another six-man tag. They like the 6-man tags here. Holla, holla, player. Loser eats dog food.
Well, once again, I didn't mind this one, Andy, because in between all these like bits of shite and bits of repetitiveness, like at least it's a callback and a follow-on of a story, you know what I mean, that we've been telling like weeks ago here at this point, but at least we're getting back around to like, I know it's dog food again we're talking about, but at least we've got a bit of continuity later on down the line. And I'm like, okay, this is old school, like an old school territories type thing. This, you know, with you used to have tarred and feathered matches and stuff like that. I don't mind these wild gimmicks with the dog food. So I like this. And once again, it's the face being confident and getting the challenge down because he knows you're going to win it. And it's the heel getting the comeuppance at the end. So ticking the box for me.
Yeah, for me, it was a nice, fun 5-minute match, but the thing you were waiting for was the comeuppance at the end. And
of course, yeah.
He certainly got his comeuppance, didn't he?
But it's even better that he didn't get like knocked out. He got like the roll-up pin, so he's fully aware of what, and he's trying to get away and stuff like that. So I like that aspect as well. He weren't just like knocked out and he done it where he couldn't really realize and wake up to it. Now he's fully aware this is what's happening. He's agreed to it, and then he gets his comeuppance. Yeah, I like this one a lot, and.
So what you would think here, Matty, is right. He's got his comeuppance. That's the feud ended.
Exactly. We've got another pay-per-view around the corner, haven't we, Ant?
Fucking hell. As Daft Punk once sung, one more time.
Or why not just do that 6-man on the pay-per-view? You know what I mean? As the comeuppance, the feud ender.
So we're in Saudi for Super Showdown. It's a steel cage match.
Rough.
Yeah,
really rough. Like, just can't defend this one. As you say, should have been over at this point of feud. Steel cage match. I'm not the biggest fan of cage matches anyway. Once again, rough.
Yeah. You think the reason for a steel cage match, if this was a feud ender, would be because like Ziggler and Rude are always interfering and what have you, but you've already had the payoff.
Yeah, already had it.
It's basically filling the card, this one.
That's all it is, yeah. And that's this year, Andy. Like, you're filling the cards. We've got another pay-per-view coming up. All right, this feud is, been going on. It should be over by now, but we'll just, throw it on there again. It's just,
So,
times.
Super Showdown 2020, Matty.
This is infamous for, we've talked about Goldberg and The Fiend, isn't it?
Yeah, so the match is on here. This was some of the slop or the dog food that they were serving up in Saudi back in early 2020. To be honest, the Saudi shows now, they booked their ideas up a bit, haven't they?
Yeah.
I will say. So, yeah, the OC defeating the Viking Raiders. I bet that was ropey.
Yeah.
The Undertaker won the 2-week Mountain Trophy, a gauntlet match, last eliminating AJ Styles.
He come out at the end, didn't he?
He did, yeah. 21 minutes and 44 seconds, that one. Miz and John Morrison defeating the New Day for the SmackDown tag titles, 13 minutes.
Yeah, just...
Angel Garza defeating Humberto Carrillo.
Tag team now, aren't they?
What were they called? Los
Lothario. This was way after this, though, Andy. This is the feud here. They're a tag team now, aren't they, with Santos? Yeah.
Yeah, because you'd always see, fucking hell, you always see him during pandemic, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
with
Zelina and Andrade. He's with Andrade at first. Garza, weren't he?
Yeah.
And Humberto was there late 19. He was bouncing around with like Seth and KO, having matches with them at that point, Andy.
Yeah.
Been around a long time.
Fucking, in it, you sort of forget some of these wrestlers are lifers and probably will be.
Yeah.
For a long time. Seth Rollins and Murphy defeated the Street Profits. This was
the Raw tag. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, God, this is going into, 2020 with the eye for an eye stuff, weren't it?
Yeah. This is, Seth's like not full-on Messiah at this point. It's him, Murphy, and AOP as a little group, isn't it? At this point.
Yeah, it will have been, yeah. Fucking hell, offers a pain. They've always been terrible, haven't they?
There now.
The undefeated in Saudi, Mansoor, defeating Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah.
9 minutes. Brock Lesnar defeating Ricochet in 1 minute 35.
Yeah, I remember that.
Obviously, Reigns Corbin. Bayley defeating Naomi.
Remember that at all?
No. Forgettable. And the main event was Goldberg beating The Fiend in 3 minutes and 8 seconds.
I remember, I've said this on the Fiend episode we done, and I remember that was me done. Like, and I know people loved it but I was invested at the time, repeating an old story. But it was like, I've watched The Fiend survive literal murder, and then he just gets beat by a couple of jackhammers. I was just like, what are we doing?
Got to put the real stars over, brother.
Got to.
So yeah, there was a little one bonus thing on there, which was somebody thing from the bump where Baron Corbin and JBL, I think they were doing a thing in NXT or something.
They were on Raw. They were like
on Raw,
like teased together when he was trying to get him back up and running again.
Yeah, talking through a SmackDown dart match from that time. I did put Baron Corbin look so much better in his hat and suit combo.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. That gimmick, he did look way better.
But yeah, that's the end of this feud. Going through it. What do you think overall, Matty? It's the question, is it muck or not muck?
Oh, and I've never sat on the fence. I don't think any of us have we? We've always had to go thumbs up or thumbs down, and then I'm giving it more thought again. I've got to say it's muck. Like, I've got to, like, even though I don't mind the dog food stuff, you know, in a vacuum there as a heat, you know, seeking angle, of course. But overall, mate, the matches were just plodding, weren't they? Reigns looks awful in the whole character garb. You know, it is based around being a dog. Like, let's not get it like twisted here. It is really based around that, isn't it? It's your King Corbin as well. It's just a combination of everything. And that's not on against the two guys involved. It's the creative. It's everything around it. Like, I love Rude and Ziggler and the Usos again. So it's not against the lads all involved. It's just the presentation of it, the creative of it, you know, and I think that it will affect the delivery of the lads. You know what I mean? It's like a footy manager having that manager who's playing like long ball when you want to showcase what you can do on the ball. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that, isn't it? Yeah. I've got to say it's muck, mate.
I think for myself as well, and I will agree with Matty, muck for me. It was One I went into with fresh eyes. I know about the dog food stuff and like all other stuff during this era. Went in with fresh eyes. Yeah, the stuff where he got the comeuppance at the end, I thought was a good payoff, but a lot of terrible stuff in here.
Yeah.
Rude and Ziggler.
You're not a fan, Andy. You're not a fan at all. Yeah.
Absolutely not. Ziggler. Yeah.
What? TNA World Champion, Nick Nemeth, no one? Not having that in 2024.
There's a reason why I don't watch TNA as well. Obviously, he's been living off that cash-in moment for years. It's probably the same as Seth Rollins, but
he's not as bad as Seth. I mean, he's not as sorry, no. Seth's not as bad as Ziggler.
No, but yeah, the combination, just seeing constantly him, Robert Roode, Corbin coming out. It's like,
but that encapsulates the era we've talked about as well, and where there's no
guys again.
Like I know we said about the creativity is bad, but there is no like it's all samey as well at the same time, isn't it? It's all very paint by numbers, but not in a Triple H way where he kind of makes it. Even though Triple H's booking isn't like the most groundbreaking you've ever seen, but he gives you little things that make it seem fresh as well at the same time. Where this was just plodding paint by numbers week to week. We're filling TV time, we're filling pay-per-view time. Yeah, just a different vibe around the whole company, wasn't it?
Yeah. Plus you could say about Triple H's booking, he has his tropes, doesn't he? Two partners fall apart.
Stables fall apart,
yeah. Like that film The Warriors, in it.
Yeah.
Basically. So we're going to end it now with a game, as ever. I did mention about losers. Yeah. So we're going to go through number of losses in 2019. So it's a nice higher or lower game. Start off, anyway. This one's not part of the game. Roman Reigns, how many losses do you think he took in 2019? So this is including TV and house shows or whatever cage match is telling us.
I'll say I reckon he won every house show. He lost a few on pay-per-view. I reckon he lost about 15 times.
11 times he lost.
Yeah.
So Baron Corbin, here we go.
He's got to have lost more.
Obviously higher.
Got to be higher.
What ballpark figure would you say?
50.
You can double that. 124 losses Baron Corbin took.
Fucking hell.
Even though you think, they kept him hot during the whole year.
Well, once again, and that's a proper heel, though, isn't it? That you can eat these losses and still obviously come back out there and you're still over and stuff, to be fair. But that's a lot. It's a lot of losses.
Let's go on to his mates now. Ziggler.
I'm going to go slightly lower.
It's lower, but, it's a bit more lower. 59 he took.
Yeah. He was the IC for a bit, though, weren't he?
Yeah.
I think, was that year? No, that was 2018.
He probably held the IC belt.
He probably had the US or the IC, yeah.
Bobby Roode.
More than Ziggler.
Only slightly. Yeah, you're correct here. 67 he took.
Okay.
Next up, Daniel Bryan.
Oh, less.
Yeah, 40 losses.
Yeah.
So he was sort of positioned around the mid card, mid to top mid card, but he weren't like a high player, were he? In
Team Hell No reunions and that in 2019, weren't we?
Yeah. I was thinking like 2020, weren't you, against fucking hell Sami Zayn at Mania?
WrestleMania, and then he had
arena stuff.
Yeah, Roman put him out, didn't he, in 21?
Yeah,
put him out his last match on SmackDown. Yeah.
Shorty G, higher or lower than Daniel Bryan in number of losses?
Got to be double, hasn't he?
I will shock you. He took less defeats than Daniel Bryan.
Blood, he must have had way less matches then.
39 losses.
Can't believe that.
So he took one less defeat than Daniel Bryan. Seth Rollins.
Oh, got to be lower than 39.
Only just.
Yeah.
28 he
Okay.
took.
All right.
So, 28 losses. Dean Ambrose. If you think this is the era where he's leaving, so how many you think? Oh,
But he's not there long, though, is he? He's not there. So, this could go either way. I'll say less, even though he probably jobbed every time he's wrestled.
48 losses.
Fucking hell, he's only there 2-3 months.
Yeah.
Jesus.
He loved them light bulbs, didn't he?
Not anymore.
I roll low at Mustafa Ali.
It's got to be more.
You're correct, Matty. 70 losses. So he had more pins than Bobby Roode, Ziggler, Daniel Bryan, Shorty G, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, and Roman. The only person who had more defeats was Baron Corbin, and he was
124. Fucking hell, that blew my mind. How many matches did he have, though, Andy? Do you know?
Baron Corbin in 2019.
19.
So let me check for you the scores on the doors. Baron Corbin. It's great. It's a great thing, cage match, for knowing about a number of matches. Fucking hell. 155, so he only had 30 wins.
Bloody hell. That's incredible.
A 19% win ratio.
81% loss record, though. Unreal. In 1 year. Not his career. 1 year.
2018, though, the year before, Matty, he had more pins. He had 127 pins.
Fair play to him. You've got to give him credit for that.
Yeah. I think the year 2017 were 112. Yeah, and then I think he was just winding down a bit. This might be when into pandemic and Constable Corbin's and all that. Like 50 matches, 57, 48, 42, and 22 in 2024.
Yeah.
Where he only had 8 losses.
There you go.
Yeah. But it's fascinating, isn't it?
It is. That genuinely is.
30 wins. He must have. He's one of them. Like, probably one of them wrestlers, like, do whatever. Result
Don't give a
doesn't matter.
shit.
It's all about the character.
He knows what it's about, the character, the heat, getting that connection where you hated and doing it. An old school wrestler, dare I say, Andy, going out on them house shows and doing your job like that. That's what it's what it's all about for me. Love that.
One final one I did want to bring up, Matty. Your favourite, John Cena. How many pins did he eat in 2019?
Was he even around in 2019?
He was.
Was he?
Yeah.
Fuck, what's he doing there? How many matches did he have then? And then I'll tell you. Do you know?
All right. He had a total of 8 matches.
John Cena in 2019. I don't reckon he lost one.
So basically, all of his matches were in January of 2019.
I reckon he won all 8.
John Cena lost 1 match.
I'd love this to be to Corbin, just for a bit of irony here.
So it was on the 14th of January. Universal title, #1 contendership, fatal 4-way match on Raw episode 1338 from the FedEx Forum in Memphis, Tennessee. He lost against, it was Finn Balor defeating Baron Corbin and Drew McIntyre and John Cena in 18 minutes and 45 seconds.
Oh, because Balor fights Brock at the Rumble, doesn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, so the other matches he had in 2019, he beat Baron Corbin. He was on a team with Balor and Rollins against Lashley, Ambrose, and McIntyre on a Raw. Then he had another 3 house shows where he beat Baron Corbin, and Baron Corbin.
Love that. Love it. But once again, you can just picture that house show match in your head. The fans hating Corbin, actually liking Cena because they've got a heel they can hate more than fucking Cena at this point. And just easy, just fair play house show match. Love that.
Probably an easy 10 minutes work for the lads.
For the lads, yeah. No bother at all.
There you go. That's volume 6 done with. Matty, where can we follow you nowadays?
You know what? I'm still, although I'm still on Twitter, Andy. We've made that transition to Blue Sky, haven't we? Most of us lately. But I'm still on there, still lurking on there anyway. Still get a bit of, still like the air videos on there, and get some of me news off Twitter. To be fair, so I'll still have that account active. I'm going to try and start this Blue Sky, get that off the ground, see how we can get on with that. But yeah, the usual places, Andy. Still over at GRAPPL there on the GRAPPL network. Still, on the Patreon side of it, patreon.com/GRAPPL. Got to get that selling there, Andy. And we've got some good stuff going on at the minute this month. We've just had a couple of King of the Mountain choices this month, Andy, ranging from Eddie Sideburns' choices as usual, a very niche promotion. Is it wrestling project, Retribution, the Underground, and early young bucks? Like, just you've got to see it to believe it. It's bizarre, it's wild, it's always right down Eddie's wheelhouse. Though always comes up with them, I say, them niche federations. Great stuff going into that. Then we just had of must-see matches. AFA Mark Buckledy coming on there, his King of the Mountain choice. A tour of Japan. It was a must-see mixtape. All different promotions in Japan. We had stuff from Toramon, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Gaia. Just a lot of different matches on there, just giving me an education really into Japanese wrestling over the last, I think it ranged from 1981 to 2012 as well. So it was good to see different stuff that I hadn't seen. Broad spectrum, of course, always up for that education. And we've got finishing our 2001 Fed Odyssey off next week with the great Michael Hamflett, my favourite podcaster, Andy. Don't take offence to that, mate.
I won't do.
My favourite podcaster. He's coming back on. We're going to finish talking, the invasion angle in 2001. Will the Alliance get the comeuppance? I bet you can realise that, yep, they do. At Survivor Series 2001. But yeah, just follow us there. Join our Discord, the GRAPPL Discord. Always good to chat to everyone about current stuff, old stuff, anything you want over there. So yeah, and obviously catch Spotlight every week on the YouTube as a great man once said, Bret Hart, in front of everything. So yeah, and always good to be on here, Andy, as you know that, mate. Always appreciate our chats, my friend.
Cheers for your time, Matty. You follow me still on X at Oggy Part 3 and this podcast at GCP Podcast 1. I'm a lurker like Matty nowadays. Yeah. I am on the Blue Sky. I'm not reading out that long fucking handle.
I know, yeah.
You can also check myself out on FWA Pod. Nothing Can Like It. Latest episode will be looking at 3 best of tapes. Plus, we've also got the creator of the FWA files on YouTube, Mr. Lee Copson, who was a great chat to have with him, and that'll be out in the at time of recording probably the next week or two. So yeah, that's the plugs out the way with, and we're still not finished for the year, as we've got one last episode, which is the Christmas special, Muck at Christmas, which will be episode 1 and episode 8 of ITV Celebrity Wrestling with Matty, and also my favourite podcaster as well, Michael Hamflett. Yes. So until next time, everyone, thank you for listening and goodbye.
Ta-da.